Hey guys, Ed the Warlock here. I'm gonna be doing a little bit different than my usual videos here. I also haven't uploaded in a while, like a while. But this new Starfield trailer just came out, and not only is it a Starfield trailer, it's an official gameplay reveal. Now I've already seen this in real time, like live when it came out, and boy, it's a doozy. But I wanted to look at it again and talk about the things that I'm noticing in the trailer and just some general thoughts about it and, about the game because I've been very hyped for this game. This has been something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I am a big fan of Bethesda's game studios, like type of work. The last game I believe they put out was Deathloop. Well, I don't know if I think they just published that game. I think that was more Arcane Studios, but yeah, I've been really looking forward to playing this game, and yeah, I just want to dive right in and see what's going on. So yeah, let's go. Let's see what's going on with Starfield, y'all. The wonder is not that the field of stars is so vast, but that the man has measured it. True, very true.
Control, this is Constellation Starship Frontier. We're ready to start on your signal. Maintaining exit vector course. Steady till ready. Coordinates input. Plotting jump course. Guidance is converged. We're looking good. Allocating auxiliary reactor power. System checks are green across the board. Grav jump commencing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's hard to express how excited all of us at Bethesda are to be here with you today. We're so grateful you're spending the time, and we know you've waited a long time to finally see Starfield. It's easily our most ambitious game ever. Like our previous games, it's an epic role-playing game where you get to be who you want and go where you want. But this time, you'll be exploring space. So let's jump right in. This is early in the game as you arrive on the mysterious moon of Crete.
Now, seeing how this is a 15-minute trailer, I don't want to do like a whole be completely silent and then come over to the footage later because the video is gonna end up too long, and I don't know how many people are actually gonna see it like that anyway. So, it starts off Todd, grandstanding the game as usual, as he should. We've been waiting for this game for like a long time. I was really confused when I first saw all of this. I honestly thought it was like a in-game cutscene or something like that. I wasn't too convinced on what this was until like we start seeing the ship pull in. Obviously, this is Crete, moon of Aslan or whatever, Aslan. This is like a gigantic crater on the moon. This was the very moment that I knew, okay, yeah, this is actually in game. At least I think it is, and that's insane. Like right off the start, I'm like questioning if this is a real game or not. So good job on that. I also just want to say that this looks a lot better than what they were streaming, because what they were streaming was rough. Got a little robot here, Walker. I don't know if this is a companion, this is an AI like guy you're doing a quest for, or what.
According to the scanners, the abandoned research facility is in this direction.
So based off of what he's saying, and we're getting to some interesting stuff right here. Based off of what he's saying, it seems like he might just be an AI companion, possibly. I didn't see anything on the UI because it seemed like they disabled the UI for this presentation, or at least the basic UI that this game might have. It's possible he's either a companion to where if you do a quest, he follows you and tells you where you need to go, or he might be a different type of companion, like, oh, hey, I want to team up with you and help you. But seeing how he's giving you this quest, I don't know. He might be able to fight. Let me look at him again. He might be capable of combat, but I don't know. He might just be a random NPC, and he might just stay in this area and come back to when you get on your ship. So this part right here is where I was really curious about, because they have a little mineral mining tracking system in this game. And I think the last game I played that had this was that was in this same kind of atmosphere of this game was probably No Man's Sky. It was either No Man's Sky or Mass Effect Andromeda, the Mass Effect games in general. And this is very interesting. Crete resources, it tells you your resources, fauna, flora, scan range, current biome. Then you see right here temperature, moon. So you're getting like a scope of this entire like planet. The gravity, not much gravity. And I guess this is this part in the bottom. Oh, I'm blocking the bottom. Hold up, let me help y'all. I guess this little part in the bottom right here, the bottom right, is explaining the entire planet, while this stuff right here explains like basically the scope of what you're seeing within this view. And this right here tells you exactly what you're seeing. So this is, now we're actually getting to see most of the UI. This is what I was talking about. This stuff in the bottom right is we get our health bar, which looks pretty basic. It is what it is, but it tells you how much HP you got. You got 100 out of 100 out of this gun called the Cutter. I don't know what the kind of gun it is, but it is what you got. And you have 10 frag grenades. So pretty basic information. HP bar, a little view of what the gun looks like and the name, and your ammo count and grenades. Very curious on why grenades is the thing that takes up this slot, but it is what it is. Not much else on this UI. Like, this is additional stuff on the screen, but this is mostly what you're gonna see in the bottom right, I guess, for exploration, just moving around in the map. And it seems like he scanned this. He scanned this little plant creature or whatever, and he got survey data added, which is very interesting. I'm guessing that goes into like lore, like when you scan an item into this game or in this world, you can go into your little journal or something and it says, oh, this is the information that I obtained from looking at this specific biome or something like that. So I'm guessing that's how you're gonna fill your lore pages throughout the game, is by scanning stuff. Kind of like in No Man's Sky and Mass Effect. The more you scan, the more knowledge you gain on different planets. Looks like this is a miniature compass. We got our little bug creatures, ugly as hell. Ooh, you see that light simmering? And now we're in third person mode. Where did he pull that gun from? Hello? Let me look at that again. Where did he pull? Look at this Buzz Lightyear looking ass man. Where did he pull that gun from? So this game has the same holster system that Fallout 4 have, where they kind of just pull guns from their sides out of nowhere. And that might break a lot of people's immersion. I don't know. It's not really a big, negative for me, but it's kind of weird to look at. I don't know where that gun came from. That was like some Looney Tune type of shit. And this is, definitely an enemy encounter. This is a semi-auto Eon. 12 out of 86, 10 frag grenades. I have to say, I wonder if this is what the game UI actually looks like this simplified, or is this is an option to make it smaller. I'm not saying that I'm used to seeing a bunch of stuff on a Bethesda game UI, but it is pretty small UI. I guess they want you to experience this game, bro. Like, actually look at the details in this game. Screw what's about to happen with this guy. This guy is gonna get blasted. Look at the details in the background. Look at the mountain, the scale. Like, just from right here, you can see the entire scale of what's going on in this planet. And you can see this little station in the background, too. And I have to say, the details on this guy's suit is insane. It's actually really good. As goofy as it is that he pulled his gun out of nowhereville, I am incredibly impressed with the fact that he just has this much detail on his suit. And this looks like, this kind of reminds me of a Mirelurk or something. Like, not, or like, maybe like a Rad Scorpion Mirelurk type of creature. I'm not going to be convinced that most of the, enemy variety in this game is going to be insane. They're probably going to be pretty similar to the Fallout games and, you know, Elder Scrolls games in terms of enemy types, but they're going to be unique looking to this game. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, if things are asset swaps, but I would not be surprised if most of the stuff in this game might be asset swaps. It also looks like the creatures are non-hostile, which is very surprising. Or maybe he has a perk, like in Fallout, where if you aim your gun at an enemy, they just like, oh, bet, we're gonna leave you alone. That's possible. I don't know. Maybe you can just see non-hostile enemies in the game. Here we go, scanning again, and now you have like your little laser. So I don't see anything about this using fuel. You just kind of pull this out of nowhere. And I notice here at the bottom, there's scan, outpost, photo mode, toggle guide, and back. So toggle guide probably gets rid of all of this right here. And photo mode, obviously we know what photo mode is in these games. Outpost, I'm confused. I'm really confused what outpost probably does. I'm not going to speculate too much, but it's very, maybe that sends you to a specific area if you press that, or it gives you an idea of like where the nearest outpost is. I don't know. It has a 30 next to it, so maybe that's a limited resource for outpost, or I don't know. I have to like observe it more, but we're going into the scanning, and it seems like you can get minerals in this game. What you're going to use these minerals for, who knows, might be for crafting related things, but you can use your little ion laser beam to mine materials, which is really cool. And you're getting iron right here. The scale of this game is humongous, like, wow. And you get XP for finding locations once again.
It would appear that pirates of the Crimson Fleet are using the facility.
Now we can hear the robot talk again. I don't know if the robot is directly following us from behind, or it's possible this is a specific AI that's part of the ship, and maybe he's just like talking to you through like a headphone thing or whatever, you know, in your helmet, whatever you got, your little headpiece. And he's probably like a Cortana. He probably doesn't actually follow you around. I don't know. But we have the weapon wheel here, and I guess this game is based off of controller gameplay, so that's the D-pad. I don't know how you bring up the weapon wheel. Maybe if you hold down the specific thing on the D-pad, like if you hold up, it brings this entire thing up. And this is kind of like how it is, I think, in Fallout 4. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it's a pretty standard weapon wheel, D-pad. You can have up to 4 different like guns or objects or whatever in your inventory at once. We swap. I'm sure you can quickly swap to them if you just press it instead of holding down. So, and there you go. No gravity, no fall damage, I believe. Wait, no, I think he did take fall damage. Did he? No, he didn't take fall damage, but I noticed right here that he took a little bit of HP damage from something during this transition. I don't know what he took damage from. I don't know, but he didn't take any fall damage when he fell down. The planet doesn't have that much gravity. I don't know if there's no fall damage. I'm going to assume there's fall damage in this game. I'm going to just assume there's fall damage, but he didn't take any right there from what I saw. And we're going into a facility. It seems completely abandoned at first. Not anymore. And we got some stealth, you know, some janky ass stealth. Now, how the hell did these guys know he was here? Excuse me? What? My buddy must got like squeakers on or something, bro. He must be making like the loudest footstep noises ever. He must be breathing loud as hell. First off, you guys are pirates, space pirates. They're like looting this area. So they're just as bad as you at this point. But it seems like you can approach, you know, combat scenarios completely differently. Like if you actually want to engage in combat, you can go in stealth or you can go in gun blazing. The stealth in Bethesda games has always been pretty janky to me because stealth is usually just overpowered. The AI is never good in these games, bro. The AI is just, they cannot keep up. I mean, right here, the AI just somehow knew he was behind him. I don't know. Maybe his stealth is just really bad and he's just very heavy. There's a chance that this game has a system to where the heavier you are, the more noise you make, and the lighter you are, the less noise you make, or something like that, you know. But I don't know. These are level 2 pirates. I don't know what level the player is. There's no indication on the screen. But these guys are pretty weak. This guy didn't even turn around. He just stood up and died. I think this guy brought out a knife and just decided to die too. No, I don't think he has a knife. I think he has something attached. No, he had a screwdriver. My man brought out a screwdriver to a gunfight. Jesus Christ, the AIs are brain dead. Oh my God. Buddy, you brought a screwdriver to a gunfight. Oh. Take, transfer. So it's just like, you know, basic system like in Elder Scroll Fallout games. You can take something specifically from the inventory or you transfer something throughout both of your inventory. I don't know what you're taking here exactly. Maybe if you should press take, it takes you into the inventory and it doesn't pull up yours. I don't know. That guy's already dead on the floor. So he slid. Was that an actual slide or was that just a crouch? That might have been a crouch with a weird looking animation. I don't think there's any sliding in this game. That guy just got lit up. He actually recoiled. Okay, so my buddy threw a grenade. The enemy decided to not move. Then he shot the guy and he barely took damage from the grenade and he just ragdolled from the explosion. The AI seem as dumb as ever in these games. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I am not really impressed on the combat side of these things. The combat in Elder Scroll and Fallout games, and I might as well compare this more to Space Fallout, because I think it's gonna have more, you know, things taken away from Fallout 4 than any other game. I love Fallout 4 combat in comparison of 3 and New Vegas. Between those 3 games, I think Fallout 4 is just the most fun because it has a lot of options. But I don't think the combat is itself incredibly fun. I think the things you can do within the game is fun and it makes, you know, the general gameplay fun. The enemy AI is usually pretty bad on normal mode, so I had to play on like hard, just, you know, to feel some sense of challenge. And even then, it's like an RPG is very hard to get a very balanced game. Most of the time, when you play an RPG, enemies are either too dumb, too over boosted by stats, or you're just too overpowered, and the game becomes a cakewalk. That's kind of what happened with Cyberpunk. I played Cyberpunk and I had like a digital hacker build and I just completely destroyed an entire building by turning everyone into like toxic gas without even being in that area itself. That's just kind of what happens when you play these type of RPGs. It's kind of easy to manipulate. But most of the people, you guys are here for the story and the RPG elements, not for the gameplay. But the gameplay has to be serviceable, and Fallout 4 was very fun and serviceable. And I think this will be around that same ballpark. I think the options, it's really gonna depend on the guns and, you know, what you have at your hand. Cause everything else about this game seemed really good. The combat seems like the weakest part in the trailer every time I look at it. You slow down time when you hold down like that. Very interesting. I don't think there's going to be a vast mechanic in this game, but I could be wrong. Weapon cave. And here we go with the hacking. You can't have a Bethesda game without hacking, huh? Or lockpicking, I should say. Very interesting way. Man, my man's shooting all over the place, bro. You good? So it seems like this specific scenario or sequence is story based. He killed these guys. The mission updated right here, and reinforcement came in because you killed those initial guys. I don't know if this is something that happens within the game. Like, I don't know if like, oh, you killed these guys, now here comes the reinforcement. Because in Final Fantasy 15, something like that actually happens. Like, if you kill enough enemies, the Magitech soldiers will just start falling from the sky nonstop over and over again until you start killing a numerous amount of them. And the more you kill in a row, the higher tiers of like enemies that pops up from the ships. I don't know if that's gonna happen in this game. It's possible this is a story thing and not like something that actually happened throughout combat. But it'd be cool. It'll make the game more challenging. Like if you're now you have to actually think when you're out in the open. And that's a cool sequence. The AI is dumb as hell in this game, but that's really cool that you can take advantage of stuff that they have on. Like, that guy had a jetpack. You shot his jetpack, he went into the air like a firework. Katy Perry will be proud. Now, here's another cool part. You see that gigantic gap right here at the bottom? You're thinking, oh man, how am I going to get to the guy? Well, no problem, player. Just jump, forehead, and then you use your jetpack to get across. And it seems like he's sustaining himself in the air here. Yeah, he's like floating a bit, so he's using his jetpack fuel. I don't remember seeing anything about the jetpack fuel here. Oh no, it's right here. Okay. So it seems like your bar right here. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the UI. Now that I'm looking at it more, I don't know if I'm a humongous fan of the UI, but your little bar right here decides how much of the jetpack that you can use. Kind of like, you know, using Pharah or Valkyrie. Pharah from Overwatch, Valkyrie from Apex. You can probably just press it for a... You can probably like double jump, like press A and then press A again for a boost. And he used that much fuel from just that jump. And he's probably sustaining it. And you can hold it down once you do that to probably keep it going. But it uses a lot of fuel. I'm guessing you're going to have perks or upgrades to let you use more, because that was insane.
You're invited to join Constellation, who, in the future the game is set in, are the last group of space explorers. To meet them, you'll head to the capital city of New Atlantis.
I wonder if this is what the fast travel animation looks like. Like, instead of you getting a loading screen, your ship just like picks you up, then takes you somewhere, and then drop you off at a station if you teleport at a station. I wonder if there's going to be any loading screens at all in this game, because most games now in next gen, they have this whole no more loading screens or reduced loading screens. So I'm really curious, because if this game doesn't come out on last gen or current gen, whatever, PS4, Xbox One, then there's a lot that it could be working with here. But he's docking off at the station at this area. New Atlantis, planet of Jamal. Got a lot of NPCs moving around. Robot buddy here again. Makes me think that we're dropping him off. Whoa. Let me look at that again. Identifying, hold up to access. So it seems like you're trying to get into these little doors with your watch. It probably should be a story thing. I don't know if this is a mechanic at all in the game. Yeah. I think it's just a story thing. Like, you go through the door.
We have a lot to talk about.
And this is one of the biggest difference from Fallout 4. The facial animation. Like, usually in Fallout, people talk like this. Like, their mouth is all over the place. Looks like they're just eating corn on the cob while talking. And they always have their arm crossed, or they're smoking a cigarette. And it's like the cigarette is still burning in their hand. I'm like, buddy, just get that one little hit before you talk to me again. Calm down. But it was like, they introduced a lot more voice acting in Fallout 4, even with your own playable character. That they didn't really fix the animation too much with the mouth. It still looked kind of weird. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was kind of jarring at times. Here, it's a lot better. And they made sure to zoom in on this lady face, because I did not do this. I don't know why they did that. Only to show off their facial animation. The new engine is looking clean. Look at this dude. My man got the Uber space bonnet on right now, bro. He is looking fly. Or she, maybe? I don't know. I don't want to assume, but yeah. That space bonnet is going crazy, bro. I need me one right now. I know I need me one.
Because we're committed to the biggest question of all.
I need to look.
To the biggest question.
So the hair doesn't look that good in this game. I'm just gonna say that. I will say that the character models looks like I don't know. They look kind of like the Fallout 4 character models, but like a little bit cleaner. Like they got rid of all the dust and like grimy look from the character models from Fallout 4 and made them more polished. But they don't really. This doesn't really look that next gen to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because this might be a generic NPC. I could be incredibly wrong. This is an important character, but that lady who was talking was looking a lot better than some of these characters that are showing up. But as you know, I'm sure the games look better in motion, you know, with actual stuff going on. Oh, what was that? Did you notice that? Look at this chick's hair. Ooh, this might be our character right here. No, it's probably not. No, what am I talking about? This is the lady we just saw. We got Space Cadet back here in the background. I'm guessing. I'm really curious if your character talks in this game.
As to what they are, what they're building. You'll be part of solving that puzzle now.
So, you found something?
The new guy found it.
I think this game is going to do something to where it's like character models look really weird when they're not in this perspective. I noticed that when they zoomed in, the details get better and everything's blurred in the background. It's like, it feels like a one-on-one session. Like, even though there's somebody next to me, I'm focused on this guy. And this is where the character models are going to look really good. And then after they zoom out, it's going to be like, oh, you're back to normal. The detail's insane, bro. Look at his suit. Jesus. Like, you can see the different type of materials here, bro. You see the wear and tear on this suit. Like, look at him, bro. This is Black Buzz Lightyear, bro. Jesus. This is the biggest advertisement for Lightyear. Lightyear is coming out in, like, in a couple days. This is the biggest advertisement for it. Beautiful. Beautiful landscapes. This reminds me of, like, that one area in an Outer World. Like one of the main areas in Outer World that you constantly go back and forth through. This looks exactly like it.
If we can find more,
a lot of this game reminds me of Outer World. This guy in particular.
Told me that it spoke to him.
of course.
Yeah, these guys look really good when you zoom in on their face.
Priorities.
Man, the details on the like gear is so crazy.
Doesn't follow the rules. Agree to work for UCC Step. Together, we take down these cutthroat pirates.
It reminds me of StarCraft, where everyone looks kind of like, you know, normal, and then they zoom in on their face, and it's like, okay, detailed man. The Rock.
You sign up with the Crimson Fleet. No one quits. The only way out is death. No one quits.
Now, I'm guessing this is probably a finisher. I think this is our player character right here. I'm guessing, like, I don't know if there was finishers in Fallout, but I know in Skyrim, they added finishers to where if you do specific action, like you use a melee weapon, you have very specific execution. And I think this is something that you can do within the game, possibly. I'm not too sure. It might not be. It might just be a cutscene, but I don't know who this is. I think this might be a finisher. And it's just a weird camera angle, or maybe not. We'll see.
Only way out is death.
The path ahead may be dangerous.
Oh man, this game's gonna be crazy, bro.
Most Dusties don't even make it this far.
Because whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity
Space battles, exploration,
forever.
mining, finding lost relics. Oh boy.
That gives you a look at the stories in Starfield.
Hey Todd,
But ultimately,
we're gonna
it's
brother
not
get a
about you.
jacket.
It's the story you create by who you are and the choices you make. And that's
My man is dripped out right now. So I want to talk about this. This is a very interesting part. Agros extractor, record locator. So it seems like in the beginning of the game, we probably start off as like you know, maybe something happened to us and they try to find information on us. Kind of like, okay, who are you? Let me see what you look like. And that's kind of how the game starts. And biometric ID, body, face, background traits. Traits we're going to get into later when they pop it up. Personnel records. I'm guessing that's the presets, the personnel records. So like they have little presets for different type of people you can look like.
most flexible yet.
Yeah.
You can customize all the elements.
And they have, you know, the kind of like basic type of customizations here. Not really basic. You can make it muscular, heavy, thin, and you know, you can adjust it. It seems like you can go a lot more in depth too. Jesus. Body type, walk style. Walk style, you're only going to see that in third person. Okay. Skin tone. There's a lot of options here. Body type.
How you look.
I can make a chubby chaser, bro. Not a chubby chaser. I can make a chubby person, that's what that. Hair color, eyes, head shape, skin tone. The one thing I appreciate about Bethesda is that they make like little sliders for this and not like oh, input this number. Yes, I want 0.134 for my hair color. Like, no, I don't know what that means. Just give me like a little slider and I'm okay with that. Thank you, Bethesda, for making very in-depth customization, but making it a simple to use for idiots like me. Thank you.
You'll pick a background.
And here we go with the background. I want to go back to that first one. I want to see if I can... Okay. So backgrounds are probably going to be like how... Backgrounds are probably... What's the closest thing they're related to nowadays? Probably like how if anybody plays Dragon Age Origin... Dragon Age Origin lets you start with an origin story, and depending on your origin story, that's how your story is different from all your other playthroughs. It might not be like that. What else it could be is like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, you can be like a guy who works in like, you know, like the industry, a street kid, or someone who just lives completely into the country. And I think that's what this is gonna be. This is probably gonna decide how your story is starting out and your different stats. But this is a lot more, it seems. While with the chef background, we got while the unrefined masses scarf down chunks by the shipload, you cater to those with a more discerning palate. In your kitchen, countless alien species became true culinary masterpieces. In your kitchen, countless alien species became... Ugh, that's disgusting. You feeding alien in here? Starting skills, gastronomy. You can craft specialty food and drinks and research additional recipes at a research lab. Dueling, melee weapons do 10% more damage, and wellness. Immediately gain 30 points of health. So, maybe actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think background is going to affect your starting stuff in the game in terms of like story. It seems like what they're going for here is what your background is going to mostly alter. You're going to get unique perks and starting points into different things. So think of it like a loadout. Like you're getting specific character loadout in form of background. And there seems to be a decent amount of background. Beast Hunter, Bouncer, Bounty Hunter, Chef, Combat Medic. And these probably won't affect your story too much instead of people coming up with something like, oh, you're good at cooking, right? Or, oh, you used to be a bounty hunter. I'm guessing it's going to be more like that dialogue-wise. Maybe if you were a professor, you can have specific conversation with intelligent people. I don't know. But these are mostly going to give you skills. And it seems like skills are unique for your background. I don't know if you're probably going to get more skills in your skill tree, obviously. I don't know if these are going to be something you can get in your skill tree. This might be completely unique to this background. So if you don't pick this background, you miss out on something like this potentially. We'll have to see. This making you start off with 30 points of health, 30 extra HP is probably not that great. I don't know if that's 30 points into something that gives you a percentage amount of HP, or if this is flat out 30 HP points. If that's 30 HP points, that might be nice for early game if you're doing a hard playthrough, or maybe for your first playthrough, and you want to do a melee build. This might be a good melee build class, right? And this is where it's reminding me of Elden Ring a little bit. In Elden Ring, you can pick your starting class. It doesn't really matter that much in terms of what you're doing end game, because you can kind of do whatever in end game. But in starting class, it kind of helps you get to what you want to do a little bit faster and without messing up your points. It's basically min-maxing. But this is going to be, this stuff is actually helping you. So you can do your role-playing and you get stuff for it. So that's pretty cool. I like what they're doing here.
Pick a background.
Combat Medic, leave it to the human beings to fight over something as infinite as outer space. That's where you come in. You've never been afraid to take on the enemy, but you much rather take care of your friend. Starting skills, pistols do 10% more damage, medicine, medpack heals 10% more, weightlifting increases total carrying capacity by 10 kilograms. So, once again, we have different skills, completely unique for right now. I don't know if this is in the skill tree once again, but interesting, the Combat Medic has a 10% pistol damage. He really is a combat medic. Probably more than Lifeline and Apex, unfortunately. I really am very interested in the starting skills stuff and like the skill tree and the trait system, because even though Fallout 4 was really lacking in the RPG elements and some of the story, one thing I think it did really well is giving you a very unique playthrough within the skill tree. Obviously, if you keep playing, I think you should get level infinitely and should get whatever skill you want, but during like your first 50 or so levels within that game, your playthrough is pretty unique based off of what you're using, and it really shows in to the skill tree. The skill tree is a very important part in any RPG game. And I think that here, this is going to be insane, man. Like, if these are unique skills and something you can't get in the skill tree, then imagine what's in the skill tree. This is already really cool that you get for a background.
That gives you 3.
Cyber Runner, from Neon to New Atlantis, the Megacorp stand as the monument to power, prestige, and profit. You work both for and against them on the inside and out, often sacrificing constants for credits. So, okay, so it's not unique. We already have confirmation right here. Pistol certification is something that we see again. So it's possible that you get this from a skill tree as well. You can attempt to hack Advanced Lock, and 2 auto attempts can be banked. You can attempt to hack Advanced Lock. So even if you don't have the right skills, like you don't have the perk to go to Advanced Lock, you can still attempt them, and you get 2 auto attempts. Okay, interesting. Persuasion, gain an increased chance of success on speech challenges. So increases your chance to get desired results on speech. So that's pretty good. Cyber Runner. This seems more like a, well, I don't know. I don't want to say pacifist. Seem more like a, like, oh, I'm willing to fight if I have to, but I can do my little scrounging up and sneaking and persuade you to do stuff for me.
Starting skills?
Cybernetis. Cyberneticus is whatever. Robots, mere toys, neuroramps, good for parlor tricks. The colony war may have made implants and upgrades available to veterans, but you once saw a greater future. Humans and machines as one. Starting skills, medicine packs heal 10% more. So I think this was what we saw in the combat medic. Robotics, you deal 10% more damage to robots in turn. Laser weapons do 10% more damage. Yeah. So backgrounds are like loadouts. They're basically loadouts. They're like, think of them like Call of Duty loadouts, but for RPG games. They're like custom Call of Duty loadouts, I should say, where they already have everything kind of planned out and you pick them based off of what you like the most. Which is cool. I don't know if this is gonna affect the story the more I'm reading this. They might bring some of this stuff up within the story. Chances are it might just be like, what would you want from the beginning of the game? Or something like that. It's hard to say. Diplomat, the wars are over. Peace now reigns the settled system, but only because there are those quietly fighting to keep it. Because of you, agreements were signed, words were heeded, lives were spared. Starting skills, persuasion, diplomacy, you can force a target NPC at or below your level to stop fighting for a while. I think that's what happened at the beginning of this trailer when he pointed at a creature and they were ready to go and they just kept moving. I think that's what happened. Bargaining. Buy items for 5% less and sell for 10% more. So that's pretty good. Nice. Thank God it's over. I'm sorry for pausing so much, but I just got to get into it.
There are optional traits, and these come with unique advantages and disadvantages.
Oh my God, you're speed running into them. So introvert. You really need your alone time. You have more endurance when adventuring alone, but less when adventuring with other human companions. So this is basically like the lone wanderer perk in Fallout, where if you have no companion, you just I think it's that game you do more damage though, isn't it? Not endurance? I'm not sure. But it's basically like those perks. Traits are kind of like perks in this game. And obviously can't be combined with extrovert, that is obvious. And it's possible that I think backgrounds won't affect you too much story-wise, but traits probably will. Or they might just be like perks in Fallout and they don't really actually affect the story, who knows? Except for in rare circumstances where it's like the lady killer perk in Fallout where if you usually just only do extra damage to women, or the reverse where you do extra damage to men, and in certain circumstances you can actually persuade somebody to do something because you have that perk. Starter home. You own a small house on a peaceful little moon, but it comes with a 50,000 credit mortgage with Gal Bank. What is the benefit of that? Oh, at the beginning of the game you have a house, but you have to pay it off. So yeah, I'm guessing most of your money is going to go to those guys and they're going to constantly bug you. So that's pretty cool. At the beginning, that means at the beginning of the game, you can start off with a house. That puts you at a big advantage over any other person. It seems like this trait system is like the perk system and the Outer Worlds, where in Outer Worlds, you have perks that's based off of things, and usually they might be negative, like, oh, you got attacked by a bunch of spiders. Now you have arachnophobia. And now you can take that arachnophobia and then take that as a permanent perk against you. It goes against you, but you get a perk point to put into skills. And it was like a risk reward system in the Outer World. It was really interesting. Execution wasn't the best because the skill tree wasn't that in depth, and most of them were just flat bonuses, and it wasn't really worth taking that many. And even if you did, it wasn't really that hard. Even on the hardest mode, because I played the Outer World on like the almost hardest mode without the survival aspect, and the perks really weren't that detrimental half the time, and some of them weren't even really worth taking, because like I said, at one point the skill tree just became worthless. It wasn't worth the effort. I'm pretty sure there was a lot more traits they showed off. Maybe I'm wrong.
In how you can look, but in how your character plays and develops.
The details on your character look great. I wonder if they talk. Oh, so this is the skill tree, isn't it? Or no, this I don't think this is the skill tree. This seems like this is the mastery system, isn't it?
Combines the best from develops.
Oh no, this is the skill tree.
The skill system combines the best from our previous games, and you can unlock new skills as you level up, and then you rank those skills up by using them and completing challenges.
Oh, so let me listen to what he says again first, and then I'll say something.
The skill system combines the best from our previous games, and you can unlock new skills as you level up, and then you rank those skills up by using them and completing challenges. Level up, and then you rank those skills up by using them.
Wait.
You can unlock new skills as you level.
So from what I'm seeing is that with the skill system, it's like a combination of the mastery system and like Oblivion, where, you know, if you're just jumping around, you unlock like acrobatics or something, and then the more you do it, the better you get with that stuff. Like just playing the game and you get better at stuff. Or like if you're playing Borderlands 1 and the more you use AR, you become more efficient with ARs. Or the more you use grenades, the more efficient you become with grenades. It seems like with the skill system, the skills are, maybe you're able to use, I don't know, it's hard to say. I think how it works is the skill tree appears, then you can select a specific skill to take part in. It's like a contract. Like you select the skill with your skill point probably, then you do your mastery for it. So you kill 250 enemies with a ballistic weapon, right? It probably starts off with like 50 or so enemies. And then once you do that, then you can put more skill points. You have to put skill points to rank them up, but you have to use your mastery first, which is interesting to me. Because from the way I was thinking, it was like, okay, so you have to unlock them first with your skill, and then you can just mastery unlock them to upgrade them. But no, I don't know. It's very, I don't know.
And then you rank those skills up.
You rank them with the skill points.
And there's deep crafting systems.
The best I can say is that you unlock the skills with skill points initially, and then you do your mastery for them, and then after you do your mastery, then you use your skills to rank them up. So you're rewarded for using specific skills longer. And I'm guessing you're gonna get only so many skill points. So it's not like you can unlock everything. And plus you have to use those skills to rank up the skills that you like the most. So I don't think you're gonna be an everyman in this game, like in Fallout 4. At one point in Fallout 4.
Projects with resources you find to crafting weapon mods and needed
Research project. Let's go back.
projects with resources you find. And there's deep crafting systems.
Okay, so the available projects, no research. So I'm guessing this is like, you know, recipes and stuff. You can maybe like look at stuff and like go, okay, yeah, I want to do that.
Projects with resources you find.
Yeah, research project. Yeah, it's basically like oh, you got the crafting recipe to do this, and now that you have this, now you have to go over here and select how you want to adjust this stuff. And it's kind of like the crafting like from Fallout 4. You can put specific attachments onto your guns. And probably foods and stuff, other stuff too. That's a big mag. And that's probably what's going to be the main reason to do mining. You're really going to do a lot of mining on probably a lot of planets to get the most out of the crafting system in this game. Because one of the best things about Fallout 4 is that you can pick up any gun in Fallout 4, and you can use that gun for almost the entire game if you want just by constantly upgrading it over time and making it better.
And you can build your own outposts. These act as a home away from home.
Oh no, no more building. After getting 100% happiness in Sanctuary, I don't know if I can do any more building, bro.
And you can hire characters you meet to keep it up and running.
Oh my god! Finally, I didn't even realize he said that when I first saw this trailer. He said you can hire people to keep this place up and running. You don't have to stay here and upkeep all your bases. Hold on, let me go back to the beginning. Like, what is the point of doing this? Like, why would I do this?
And you can build your own outposts.
Okay.
These act as a home away from home for survival and resource generation. You can choose where and how to build each one, and you can hire characters you meet to keep it up and running.
I wonder if these characters are your companions. I wonder how many companions you get in the game. Because if you can hire people to upkeep this place, do you pay them if they're just random people, or do they do it for free if they're companions? Can only companions come here? Can you actually hire people to do this? It's very interesting. I'm curious how they do that.
But that's not all.
Yep, that's not all.
You can even build your own spaceship.
Yep. The USS Long.
You can choose crew members. And yes, you can completely customize.
I wonder if crew members are unique characters with story to them, or people you can just hire from towns. I think, like, if you can actually have a crew, I wonder if they're actually unique NPCs. Possibly, but if you can actually send people to bases and you can make a lot of outposts, because now that I realized, I was talking about what were the outposts in that thing, and I saw 30. So I think at that point that guy had 30 outposts at that point of the game. So does that mean there's around 30 companions you can put to an outpost? That's what makes me think that you can have non-unique like companions, maybe unique in just the way they look and stuff, but I don't think there's just story regulated companions. You can even have NPCs in your crew, just random dudes off the street probably, and recruit them. Kind of like in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can just recruit random people and let them just help fight for you most of the time. They're not all random people, I believe, but kind of similar to that. Oh man, the gummy ship's looking great. This Kingdom Hearts game is amazing.
I have to say, it's so cool. We just absolutely love this.
Crew slots, interesting.
Absolutely.
So
Manufacturers and more.
6 out of 6. So if you want specific amount of crew members in your ship, you got to make sure you have a right type of ship. And we have stats here: the whole sealed cargo crew. So 10, I'm guessing there's 10 people in the crew. Jump range 18, mobility 91, top speed 150, mass 417. So currently this thing can hold up to 10 crewmates, probably including you.
I have to say, it's so cool. We just absolutely love this.
I'm guessing the mineral stuff is going to play into this too, like finding resources out in the field.
The ship looks, it's how it performs, from engines to shields to weapon systems, because yes, you can fly it.
Thrusters boosted.
Man, this is the closest we're gonna get to probably like a Star Wars type of bounty hunter game. Star War battle, or I should say Starship battle. Man, look at the detail. Look at how that ship is getting torn apart. Specific pieces are coming off of it. Man, look at that effect. That is beautiful. my question is, at one point, I think the average player isn't gonna constantly fly to every planet. So I'm thinking like they're gonna have like an autopilot system. Like, oh, you want to go to a specific planet? Let the ship take charge. But maybe you have to unlock that by crafting it yourself. Who knows? Because I can't imagine you fly to everywhere. Because there's gonna be a line that he says into this thing that makes me go, "There's no way the average person is going to fly to all of that shit, bro. There's no way." Flying to space stations. Target lock. Boarding ships. You can board people's ship. Whew. Beauty.
We can't wait for all of you to experience the game. Thanks again for being with us today, and thanks for all the support you've given us over the decades, especially
Is that really it?
game. It's been an incredible journey for us making it, but we know that's really only the beginning, for it's when all of you play it that the real journey begins. And you may be wondering, just how big is this game? So we thought we'd take one last moment and show you. Let's take a look at one of our planets, Jemison.
That looks like Earth.
But you can also land and explore anywhere on the planet. And
Anywhere.
It's not just this planet. It's all the planets in the system. From barren but resource-heavy ice balls to Goldilocks planets with life. And not just this system, but over 100 systems. Over 1,000 planets, all open for you to explore.
Now, this is where I'm like, okay, Todd, calm down, buddy. I don't know if they actually designed that many unique planets. My guess is that they have a bunch of assets already planned out for some of these planets, and they just kind of like have AI generated stuff like in No Man's Sky, where most of the planets you go to, I think every planet's just like generated randomly with different assets. So that's my guess of what he's talking about here.
We can't wait to see what you find.
Man, it sure is pretty though. All the different unique landscape, all the different creatures, like this is insane. I see some frame rate drops. I mean, even if most of it is AI generated, and there might not be a lot of unique NPCs on most of these planets, which I don't expect a bunch of NPCs on every planet, or barely any at all. It's probably gonna mostly be wildlife. It's still gonna be cool, and you probably get rewarded for getting like rare materials to go back into the crafting system in the game. Coming 2023. Xbox console, PC, and cloud. Each are hard outs. PlayStation and Switch players, I guess. Damn. Yeah, that was Starfield, man. I really like everything I saw from the trailers. It's crazy that this game still doesn't have an exact release date. I'm curious if this game is gonna get delayed again. They showed so much, but if they can't like promise a release date, I really don't know if it's coming out next year like that. Possibly. I hope it does. I want to play it. But if it needs more time, then please take that time. I'm willing to wait. Because after what happened with Cyberpunk, you know, despite liking Cyberpunk, I really would have liked if Cyberpunk took some more time in the oven. But this game looks really good. It looks like it might sound like an insult, but it looks like Fallout 4 in space. It really looks like they just took the template for Fallout 4 and put it in space. Gameplay-wise, I want to say strictly gameplay-wise. Now, in the RPG elements, they look like they went a lot more in depth with the backgrounds, giving you different starting skills, giving you basically the trait system that gives you unique quirks to your character. You can be basically anything. I don't know if you can be an alien race or not. Um, it's insane. If you could be an alien race, that probably changes up your entire dialogue, like, dynamic with NPCs. I really want to know if background affects the story too, and the trait system affects it. Like, if you're an introvert, you get different, like, dialogues. Like, if you're an introvert in the game, you shouldn't be able to talk to most of the NPCs as well. Or if you're an extrovert, maybe you're overly talkative and it causes some issues and make people not want to talk to you, actually. Maybe if you're a chef, you can get into situations to where someone asks for specific foods or ideas and you're like, oh yeah, I'm a chef, so I know how to say this or I know how to say that. I would really love to see RPG elements get implemented in there, even if it's just the dumbest thing possible. Like, I would appreciate anything in that manner. The major thing that seems iffy is the combat. The combat look really jank, and it's because they mostly have the Fallout 4 combat. Like I said, Fallout 4 is the template for this game, I believe, more than any other thing. Like, you can tell, like, it's Fallout 4 in space. And that's not really bad. Fallout 4 is fun, but the combat is jank. And some of the AIs are just, I don't know. Even when you put the game on harder mode, the AIs don't get smarter. They just get more stats, or usually just maybe better gear. I don't really have high hope for the combat to be anything incredible. I just need it to be serviceable, so when I'm doing the RPG stuff and I go back to combat, it's like, oh, this is still fun. Like, I like the RPG elements, but the combat is still fun, you know? And the combat in Fallout 4 was fun because the customization, how much you can mess around with your different skills and combinations with your different weapons or tools they're using in the fight. For example, I started off as basically like a generic shooter build in Fallout 4, but over time I moved my build into melee, and with the combination of my perks that allow me to just basically zoom across the map, even as goofy as it is in Fallout 4, in combination with those perks with my melee weapon and the different stuff I added on top of my melee weapon, it makes my gameplay experience so vastly different. Like, I was probably having less fun using guns back then compared to how my melee weapons were. Of course, at one point the challenges disappear, but that's kind of what happens in RPGs. I expect that for the most part, because that's what happened in the Cyberpunk. I started off mostly as a, let me shoot everything, but then I started hacking into people, I started blowing up structures near them, and I got into the point to where I can just poison an entire building without even being in that building or even near it. Just looking at it, and I just destroy an entire armada of enemies. That's basically RPG combat in a nutshell. It's hard to balance, but it can still be fun and satisfying if they do it right. It's hard to say with these enemies. I say fighting the unique alien type enemies are going to be more fun than fighting random mobs. I just want to play the game. It's going to be hard to say until I play the game. And it seems like they have controller in mind because of, you know, the way the layouts were and the D-pads. So this doesn't seem like a game where they're just abandoning console just because it is only on Xbox. They definitely have to make sure this plays really well on consoles. Actually, it's saying it's not on last gen at all. Well, it might be on the regular Xbox One. I'm not sure. It says Xbox console, so it might just be Series X and S. We'll have to see. And it's on the cloud as well. So you can probably play this game on your TV in the future with Game Pass. That's actually insane. But the biggest thing that this game have to have is really good RPG elements, good gameplay loop, not just combat loop, or not just combat gameplay loop. Like, it doesn't matter if I do a bunch of base building, if I customize my ship, if I go to all these planets. The gameplay loop is not fun or rewarding. And like, if I go on to 1,000 planets and there's nothing there, nothing to reward me, then it's not satisfying for the average player. Like, you gotta think, there's gonna be hardcore people going to every planet, probably writing down in their own real life IRL journals, like, today I went to this weird planet in Starfield, and there was these craters. I don't know what the craters were doing, but it was sure swell, buddy. Like, there's people who's gonna be like that, hardcore, like they're gonna nerd out to this game, and that's perfectly fine. And that's the kind of stuff you love. Like, you love people who want to get into the game like that. But the average person probably won't be like that, and they just want to, a fun ride. And they want the game to guide them. I'm not saying I personally want the game to guide me, but I hope when they're doing most of this stuff, it feels like it's leading into something. Like, you have freedom, complete freedom to the game, but you have something that leads you to a certain goal in the end. Obviously, that's the story is usually that, but it's not just the story. Like, if I go out of my way to do something, I want the gameplay loop to be so fun and entertaining, and the rewards I get out of it. Even if the reward is something like flavor text in a video game, as long as it's, interesting and it feels good to the player, I think that's fine. One of my favorite RPGs of all time is Dragon Age Origin, because of how unique each playthrough can be, how your decision decides so much for you. Not just your decision middle in the game and the end of the game, but the beginning of the game, where you decide to end up, your origin story. And depending on what you do and what you say and where you begin, it affects your entire playthrough. And sometimes you'll go to areas where there's not really much to do, but there's a lot of dialogue, and that's rewarding. RPGs don't really need amazing combat, but I'm not going to defend terrible combat RPGs. Usually all it needs is a very rewarding system. And that's all I really need from Starfield. Closing thoughts. Game looks really good. I hope it runs well on PC. I think this is going to be a game that's going to make people cry. Like, if you don't have a good PC, it might be time to get like an Xbox Series S or something, my guy. Or an X. This game might be rough. Bethesda has reputation with really buggy games at launch, so this game might have a ton of bugs. It looks really nice in this demo, and I don't doubt they put a lot of time in it, but there's probably a reason why it got delayed and we haven't seen gameplay up until now after all these years. Get ready. I don't know if I would recommend to most people to get this game day one. Probably wait a little bit. What am I kidding? You guys are gonna get this game day one. I am too. I love what I saw. My biggest fears at this point, funny enough, despite me loving the combat, not the combat, the gameplay. I like the combat too. I really love. I love it. It's fun, I should say, at least. My biggest fear is that the combat will be mediocre, and everything else is good enough to make you ignore it. I don't want it to be like The Witcher for me, to where The Witcher 3 is good, is really good, but I find the combat and the general gameplay loop of Witcher 3 so boring that it doesn't make up. It doesn't like the other side, the RPG side of it, doesn't make up for the gameplay side. I'm not that kind of person who can ignore really mediocre gameplay. I want to have fun throughout the game, and I hope this game is fun, and not just fun because of the RPG element, it's fun because of the gameplay loop. That's what I hope. I believe in Bethesda to do that. Because for the most part, the gameplay in their games are pretty fun. Even in Skyrim, the combat in Skyrim is incredibly jank. But what's great about Skyrim? The fact that you can explore a random cave, and this cave is bigger than most random areas in other RPGs. The fact that you just walk around and a miscellaneous quests just pop up in your face, and it's like, wow, this is pretty unique for this type of stuff. That's what I want in my game. The gameplay loop to be fun, and yeah. But that's all I got for now. We've been here for quite a while. That was my deep dive. I don't know if anyone's gonna actually see this, but if you did, comment down below. Tell me what you think about the game. leave a like, help your boy out. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll probably try to do more stuff like this. I don't know. I had fun talking about this. Like, I get very passionate about video games. I love video games, so I'm always down to talk about video games. But yeah. Thank you. And see ya later.